bus and went to the March on Washington. And I think we wait for somebody to tap us on the shoulder to tell us that we can lead, when really all we got to do is just do it. And I think that's important. And finally, what I will say, my sister, you said secret sauce, but I dare say that Black women, we the whole recipe. Well. We the entire recipe, not just the secret sauce.
All right, sis. So I've been thinking a lot about this because of if you look at our data and our numbers at the polls. So for instance, I live in Charleston County. I live in the city of Charleston, and our last mayoral election and then the runoff. The runoff was on a Tuesday before Thanksgiving. It was dreary outside, y'all remember? And so in my precinct, there were supposed to be 5,000 eligible voters. And when I went at 4 p.m., I was number 456, right? And so you do the math, that's, 10%, right? And what I'm thinking about, my background is engineering. I'm always trying to find solutions. I'm always thinking about what is the key. And I think about getting people out to the polls. One, I think once they're educated, I agree with everyone. So work that we've been doing is just putting the pieces together, especially in Charleston County and around the school district issues, putting the pieces together, the historical perspective, so people can understand that what is happening today is not new, but we can go all the way back to the 1700s, and we can look at laws and history. And so what is happening is we have now an awakening of people that are showing up and they're saying, I want to be present. So now we have to keep people motivated to keep coming, because they're thirsty for information, because they absolutely see what the consequences are. And so I'm thinking about, if we do all the education, how do we get people out to the polls? On those days, we have to go back to history, which says that our churches were activated. Our churches were activated. So last Saturday, we had the pastors, and we talked about going into all the churches and saying, going through your roster and being able to know who are the registered voters in your church. Because there's data that says if we can get 50 to 60 people to vote in each church, because churches are usually they're around each other. You can have 5 or 6 churches in one cluster. That can change the outcome of the vote. And then what else is sitting in parking lots on Tuesday of voting? We got vans. Every church got a van, at least one. Some of them got buses. And then on this Tuesday in November, our schools are out of, they're not in session. So you got buses that are going to be sitting. So we could start thinking about how could organizations coalesce and come together and really you could have party buses going to polls, right? And we can make it like, this is the thing you want to do. Oh, I don't have to drive. I can take the party bus to the so I can take the party bus to the vote. How do we get our people activated again and excited about being a part of the change? I'm just excited about what can be the possibilities.
Can you give us our first panel of sisters, is what I call it. Our first panel, a round of applause. Thank you all so very much, ladies. Thank you. Bring up our sister Trudy Lucas. We have a couple of folks that are going to bring greetings, and then the second panel, y'all get ready. We're going to call on you, and then we're going to open it up and come and have a conversation with you all that aren't on the panel. And when we do that, we're going to let folks to start, once they tell us it's a go, start bringing food. So Trudy and then Christina is going to be a part of the group to bring greetings.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, panelists. That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited about being able to share this individual with you. She is the president and the CEO of the International African American Museum right here in Charleston, South Carolina. She is a powerhouse. And we are so excited that she's ours. If you have not had an opportunity to go to the museum, I suggest that you do so ASAP. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Tanya Matthews.
All right, y'all. How y'all doing? Y'all tired yet? No, just making sure, just making sure. Listen, I am excited to come and to greet you all and to say hello and re-hello to a lot of folks that I know. Of course, inviting you to the International African American Museum, which is now the second largest museum of its kind in the country. Go Charleston, go. Of course, we have the power of place in that space because we hover atop the spot where the nation's former largest slave trading port was. Hover atop because the ground is sacred. So even the museum does not touch the ground so that we can put our feet back on that place. I was talking to a brother visitor the other day, and he says, it doesn't escape me that the last time I was down here, I was voluntarily getting on a boat, one of those cruise ships, and to be in this space where I have that choice, but I'm also here to remember that. So it's very, very powerful. In that space, I want to encourage everyone to come, visit, support, and be a member. And I want to tell you, there are some advantages to running a history museum. See, the advantage to running a history museum is I get to know some stuff. Right. So when the new stuff comes up and they talk about a new election, you mean just another election, right? And they want to talk about the importance of this vote. You mean the importance of this vote again. And so you come to the museum, you might find some inspiration. Now, some folks might find some inspiration when we talk about where we were, right? How far we've come. They want to talk about that space, in the middle, this period of enslavement. Some folks gonna take it all the way back, say, well, I remember when we used to run and build kingdoms, so that's why I vote, because I intend to do that again. They may find their inspiration there. Some may find their inspiration, all of the elected officials and powerful pundits that we feature and we showcase in the museum. But this group right here is special. So I was walking around the museum trying to figure out what could I do to encourage those who are encouraging those who need to vote. Not just the voters, like I'm assuming each and every one of the folks in this room and watching whatever this is, we are already registered, right? So we are here to encourage those to step up and to register. And sometimes this may seem a little frustrating, right? Almost on the way out of the museum, almost on the way out, you get to the second half of the American Journeys gallery, and you get into this period. Now, first of all, some of you may know that the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs was formed in 1896. It was a long time ago. That was the association of the clubs, meaning at that time, Black women were so busy and so prolific in doing our thing, we needed a national association for the clubs. Now, the way that Black women form clubs, right, just in case some folks are confused, these clubs are about the business, right, of building homes, about building communities, about suffrage. We were showing up to the suffrage events, whether or not we were invited. Okay, so we were having that conversation. So we needed an association, right? So when you want to talk about the Black woman's vote, regardless of which side it's on, this is not a new thing. This is a centuries-old practice that we have been in this space. This is not about remembering or reclaiming the value. This is about sitting on that foundation. Again, more than a century in this work. And so you keep running, you get on through the 1890s, you're like, oh, how long is this story gonna go? And you come up into, sort of the 1940, and there's this interesting panel that talks about the movement to get Black folks registered to vote. It feels a little similar. I don't know, some of y'all may not feel the similarities, but I do. So to get folks registered to vote, and we have this panel that talks about the fact that in 1940, there were 3,000 African Americans registered to vote. Now, you may remember by that time we had the vote, technically. We were invited to vote, technically, but there were some barriers. There were poll taxes, there were quizzes, there were cross burnings. There was a lot of things in between Black folk and the vote. Perhaps that's why only 3,000 people were voting. And then South Carolina became part of the greater movement in bringing folks down to help folks understand the importance and the power of registration. One of the main movers of that movement were the Black women's clubs. I told you this wasn't a party. So the Black women's clubs came and were helping the NAACP and the Southern Democratic Party and all of those folks to get Black folks registered to vote. By 1948, remember 1940, it was how many? It was 3,000. By 1948, there were 35,000 African Americans registered to vote in the state of South Carolina. That is less than a decade. That is less than a census. That is less than, you know, when they move the lines. That is less. That's not politics. That's facts. That was less in that point. So just to remind you that what you are doing is powerful. What we're doing is possible, and it makes a difference. To go from 3,000 to 35,000 inside of a 10-year period is why this is so important, is why this is so hard, is why there may be barriers. And the last thing I would say is if someone cares enough to argue with you about it, holler back, right? When was the last time you argued about something you didn't care about? When was the last time you asked a provocative question about something you were not paying attention to? When has a young adult, emphasis on the young, ever raised their voice at you because they were not paying attention? These are the moments and these are the conversations that matter. And the advantage of working at a history museum is that I have the proof and I have the facts. So I want to encourage you, but I already want to thank you. It has already been given and decided. And this is important work. And that person you walked away from that's rolling their eyes and sucking their teeth, they haven't thrown the ballot away yet. And they will be there. And if that doesn't work, I really like that party bus idea. Holla. Thank you.
You gotta go see it. If you hadn't been, you gotta go see it. You have anybody else? Okay. Is it Miss Yvette in the room? Well, Christina's in here. Miss Christina Q, come on up here. She is our newly minted convener to establish the Black Women's Roundtable in the state of South Carolina. She's out here moving and shaking and making things happen and moving presidents and vice presidents from the United States to Africa and everywhere else. At one time, she was on our team. She's never left our team. She was our campaign manager in 2022. So I know you got to hit the road. So bring us some grievances.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are so honored to be here before you today. Thank you so much to our fearless convener, Melanie Campbell, and Ms. Trudy Lucas. We're in her hometown, and I am Christina Q from the great city of Aiken, South Carolina, and I am so excited to be here before you. This out of all the events on our schedule, this is one of my most favorite events that we were organizing and putting together. And so in my 15 jobs that I have at one time, I'm trying to multitask and be in two places at once right now. So y'all forgive me that I have to leave right after this because the vice president is coming to South Carolina tomorrow, and she'll be in Orangeburg, South Carolina. So, you know, we do all things to support all the Black women and the amazing Black women doing amazing things. So that's really what my motto is in my job. So I really love the work that I do. And so I'm just grateful for the opportunity to stand before you as a new convener of the South Carolina Roundtable. A lot of you all have been to Black Women Roundtables events in DC and seen nationally the work that Melanie and all the other conveners in all the other 13 states have been doing. And now South Carolina gets the opportunity to be one of those states. And so I'm so excited, and I look forward to working with everyone that's in this room. And I look forward to us branching out and reaching across the state to bring all the Black women in together. And so we can go to the retreat together. We're gonna do all the things that all the other conveners have been doing together. So thank y'all so much for being here. Hate I'm gonna miss the rest of the conversation, but we're looking forward to continuing this work, because I heard my sister Jess mention it's important to keep this work going, and not just during election time, but during the whole year, so that we can make sure that we get out the vote and we really help us understand the importance of our vote, and our voice. And so thank y'all all so much for being here, and I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And be safe on that road. Be safe on that. So we get a little wake up music. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Let's get a little wake up music. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Always. But Clay, you know what I want to do? Take a moment to pause for our brother Joe Madison, because it's out. Anybody heard of the Black Eagle? Joe Madison passed away, and it's all over. It's out now, so I wasn't gonna say anything. So I do want us to just pause for brother Joe Madison, the Black Eagle. Oh boy. Just pause. Sorry. Hold on.
There was a jackass, and I won't call her by her name, who said that there's a frightening thought at the possibility of Kamala Harris becoming president. Y'all know who I'm talking about? I don't have to call her name, right? She said it on national television. Just let the vice president know that there are sisters that are rejoicing every minute. We will grease up at any moment. That if the occasion should arise anytime to defend her to a seat that she is rightfully entitled to, if something should happen where her progression falls in line, we will not sit quietly while they insult those who are doing the work, who came to that position by virtue of owning it, not just because she is or that person. Lord have mercy. I'm nonpartisan. Let me just stop.
Second panel, you're going to come up. Regina, Tiffany, Tamika. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, Tamika. She's coming. Tiffany James. Maria, are you here? Maria Reyes. She's not here. And Marcia Johnson. Come on up.
We need one more chair. When the gentleman get a chair for one of the ladies, we're gonna need one more chair. I think something has not slid. Oh, it's just four? Okay, we're good, right here. Okay. All right, ladies, y'all ready? And what we're gonna do, because once they let us know that the food is ready, we're just gonna let people just quietly go and grab something. Okay? All right, y'all ready, ladies? Y'all ready? Well, I'm gonna ask you that first question, okay, that I asked the first panel. And then what does the power of the ballot mean to you? What are the, I'm gonna twist it a little bit. What are the one or two things that you think are on the ballot? We've got a whole ballot thing. I wonder what a ballot is. We list all the issues of concern. So what does the power of the ballot mean to you? Give us one or two things that you think are on the ballot. I say voting rights are on the ballot. Start there.
Well, good evening. My name is Mika Gadsden. I'm an organizer here. I organize around social justice and environmental justice, and I also create content. I'm a media entrepreneur. For me, I've been organizing around Charleston and around the state for some time now. And for me, when you pose that question, what immediately jumps to my mind is legacies on the ballot. And while that's not something tangible or is not a specific policy line, legacy is on the ballot. And we've heard these amazing voices just enumerate the challenges that we've all witnessed, that we've all had to navigate. But like Septima Clark, a Charleston native icon, my guiding star, like I don't want to butcher her quote, but she has said that chaos presents opportunities. And so for me, we are in this very special place in time where we can create new traditions. We can create new pathways to democracy. We can teach those who feel disenfranchised, who feel silenced, who feel ignored. We can teach them how to engage with their democracy, just like she did, just like so many women in this state, from this city. They've architected democracy. When there was no access to the ballot, Black women specifically, and young organizers with SNCC specifically created pathways so they could engage with their democracy. I think we are poised to do just that for this moment. For those, again, who don't feel themselves to be represented, we can teach them how to advocate for themselves. And I am somewhat of an outsider in that I lean a little bit left of so many other folks here in Charleston, but that doesn't mean that we're not on the same side. We're on the same side. And like any other group, like any other city, we should celebrate the multiplicity of ideas and ideology and viewpoints, because those people need to be represented as well. So when you ask what's on the ballot, legacy's on the ballot.
Good evening, everyone. I am Tiffany James, and I am a public relations consultant with my company, Justice James Consulting. I'm also the president of the National Action Network of Columbia, South Carolina. What's on the ballot for me is democracy. Without democracy, all else fails. We will not have our voice. We will not have the vote. And we see that being stripped away from us this very second. And we know if a particular candidate wins, then it could be the end of our democracy as we know it. Our democracy is not perfect. We are here to form a more perfect union. So yes, democracy is the most important thing to me. I want to quote, since it's the first day of Black History Month and it's my birthday. It's thank you. And it's also the birthday of Langston Hughes. In one of his poems, he said, "Let America be America again, the land that hasn't been yet, but yet must be." Right? That but yet must be, like I sit with that almost every day. Our country cannot be if we lose our democracy, right? If we lose our choice, if we lose our voice, if we lose our vote. And so democracy to me is the most important thing, as well as community. We have to move beyond our individualistic ways and focus on each other. And we are in a fragmented world. And as long as we stay in our own little bubbles, our democracy can collapse right before our eyes. And I believe that's what we're seeing right now. But we have a chance to save it this November.